Hello, 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 how are you? This is Els coming from Bemis Crafty Corner, and today we're going to be working on this one. So, this is just a simple, sweet little triple notepad. Now, I didn't put any paper in this one because it's just the demo, but you could put paper in here or pockets if you wanted to, and you'll end up with like a 3-layered notebook, and then you just have this little belly band to keep it all closed. And then you would just tuck this into your journal in a pocket someplace, or in a belly band in the journal, and you would have a little notebook. So this is what we're going to do today. Normally I would, have paper that I would say, we need paper, and then I would tell you how to cut it down and all of that, but we're not going to do that today. Today, I've pre-cut the paper, and the reason I did that is because I'm using scrapbook paper, and it's like a cardstock, and it's white on the inside, and I kind of wanted to get rid of a bit of the white, so I went ahead and dipped it in the tea so that it had a little bit of color to it. So I'm going to tell you what sizes we're going to use today, so I want to get all of that out and all the other supplies, and then I'll come back and walk you through doing this one, okay? I'll be right back. Alrighty, so aside from the pieces that we're going to be using for the assembly, which is one piece of 4x6, one piece of 5x7, one piece of 6x8, and one piece that's, about 9.5 inches by 1.5. You're also going to want some paper for your notebook. So I have some tea-dyed paper here, and actually this is a mix of coffee and tea. And then I have some lined notebook paper, and I have some parchment paper, okay? You're also going to want your adhesive, you're going to want a paper trimmer, and you're going to want something to tie it all together. So silk cord, wax thread, if all you have is some embroidery floss, then you can of course use embroidery floss. That's entirely up to you. If you happen to have some beeswax, if you thread this through some beeswax, that works as well. Okay, so that's pretty much the basics here. You may want a corner rounder, you may want some ink, those types of things. All right, so I'm going to clear some stuff, get my paper trimmer out, we'll get started. I'll be right back. All right, so we're going to go over this one more time. So this is 4x6, 5x7, and 6x8. I'm going to be giving you the measurements based on these today. Okay? So for the first one, we're going to get 3-4 sheets, whatever you want. I'm going to use half for this, small. I only need 2 for this one, okay? Because this is the small one. And I'm going to be cutting these to 5.5 by 3 3/4 tall. So 5.5, and then we're going to cut 2 that are 3 3/4. Okay, that's going to give me 4, so I'm going to put those to the side. I'm going to get out the next kind of paper that I have, which is our parchment. And again, I can cut 4 pieces of this out of 2 sheets. Or I could just use scrap. And these don't have to be the same size. I mean, you could literally, if you wanted to, you could just make these any size you want and just put them in there, okay? But for this one, these are going to be 4 3/4. 4 3/4. Four and 3/4 by 6.5. Okay. These are all great scraps. We're going to set these to the side. And then for the next ones, I'm going to be using some lined pad paper. All right, now for these, we want them to be 7.5 inches across. And I want to take that part off. At least as much of it as I can. So I'm going to leave a little bit of that. That's okay. And then I want to cut these down to 5 3/4. Ooh, not going to be able to make it with those. I'm going to have 3 more. Or 2 more. All right. 7 and a half. Okay. So there's all my pieces for that. I'm going to go ahead and put this away. We are going to do a little bit of scoring, but you don't need a scoreboard to do it. If you just want to fold it, that's fine. I'll be right back. So starting off with our smaller piece, we're going to be scoring this one at 3 inches. Be mindful, hills into valleys, valleys into hills. So you want to have the right side of the paper you want on the outside to be facing up. On the next one, which is our 5x7, we're going to be scoring this one at 3.5. Always a few light scores better than one big gashing score, okay? And then our next one, anybody want to guess? 4 inches, that's right. 4 inches right there. Now, if you don't have a scoreboard or scoring tool, you can just fold these in half. That's entirely up to you. All right, so we're going to start by folding these in half and just hitting them with the bone folder. That's a valley, so we're going to turn it into a hill. Valley into a hill. We are lining this up. There we go. Now I'm going to round corners. I want to have rounded corners on this. I like that look. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to round all of my outside corners. And then I am going to be doing a bit of inking. Okay? So, I'm going to go off and do the inking on this, and when I come back, we're going to kind of fold everything up, put it all together, and stitch it all into one piece. I'll be right back. So these have all been inked, and now we're going to work on the paper. Again, you can use your scoreboard if you want to, but realistically, just folding paper is, you know, it's easy. Fold the paper. Okay. That's one. Fold these. Two. And we'll fold these. So now that I have these all folded, if you want, you can round the corners on the pages as well. Just hit them with your corner rounder, give them a little haircut, and then we are going to be stacking. So the little one goes on the outside, and I suppose you could put it anywhere you want it to, but I designed this so that, you know, you have that little bit all the way around, and then we're going to put in the middle one, and that one's going to go, I think, right there. It looks good. I'm going to round the corners on this one. And then we're going to put that in there. Just like that. Let me grab a clip real quick to hold that. And I don't quite like this. So I'm just going to trim this a little bit because I don't quite like it. To my eye, it was not very nice looking. Okay. There we go. Rounding corners. Rounding corners. And you could ink the paper, but I'm not going to ink the paper. Why? Because I'm lazy. And that's a lot of inking. All right, and then I'm going to put this one into this one. And I rounded the wrong corners on this one. That's okay. Put that in there. We need to round these corners. That one and this one. Re-ink is necessary. You know. Then we're going to put our paper in, and then we're going to put this in here. Let's see, I kind of like that, and I like this one up a little bit. That, and this one I like down here. Okay, so I have these all put one into the other. What I'm going to do is simply open this to the very center, and I'm going to use paper clips or clamps or whatever I've got to go ahead and hold all of this in place for me. And then I'm going to be using my needle and thread to put this together. So I'm going to get that out and I'll be right back. So now I have out my awl and a piece of foam. You could use a book, whatever you want to use. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a hole about in the middle, and then one towards the top and one towards the bottom. All right. Now I'm not a big fan of the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, but for this it works. So I'm going to go ahead and put that through, and then I'm going to come up through this hole here. And it is not required for you to use a needle this size, okay? I do it so that you all can see it. Okay, so now I've taken one stitch. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, go through that hole, and then I'm going to come back up in the center. And when I come back up in the center, what I want to do is I want to be on the opposite side of that center thread. Alright, so that puts one thread on this side and one thread on this side, okay? Alright, then I'm just going to tie a simple square knot. Now I can leave these long if I want to, or I can trim them down. That is entirely up to me. I'm going to take a little bit off. Okay. Remove my clamps. And then I'm going to put the whole thing, press the whole thing together. Okay. Now, sorry about the arm there, guys. All right. So now that I've got that, the next step is going to be the belly band, and I'll be right back to do that. Okay. So when you're working with a belly band, I cannot give you an exact measurement. I can give you a width, but not a length. And the reason is because your paper might be different thicknesses, or a whole bunch of other reasons, but basically it's not going to be the same width. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and ink my belly band. Most of it, anyway. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that on my book in about the middle. And then I'm going to finger wrap. And that means I'm just going to fold it with my fingers around. And then I'm going to take off a pretty good chunk of this, okay? Because I don't really need it. And then we're going to go ahead and figure out the way that this works best, which for me is to take a little bit off of this side as well. And then I'm just going to put glue on here. Okay. Now I'm not pressing this, you know, I'm not pulling it very tight. It's just finger loose. And that is so that you can slide this belly band on and off without, you know, without it binding. Okay. So right now I'm just sliding it up and down a little bit to kind of work it in. There we go. And it comes off. Then I can open this up. I can journal inside here till my heart is content. And then to close it back up, I can just put my belly band right back on. Whoop. And go ahead and push it down. Okay, that's it. That's my simple project for today. If you're new here and you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit the button for me. Subscribe. You know, what the hell. Let me see. Doesn't hurt. You probably won't remember it in the morning. No centipedes, none of that stuff. You're not going to get rich. You're just going to make a fat lady happy. Okay? Let's see, what else? Check out the community tab here on the YouTube channel, or scoot on over to the Facebook group. There is a link in the description box below. And over there I have a fantastic group of very crafty, creative, very artistic ladies who are extremely supportive and really just a wonderful, wonderful tribe of people, all striving to make the best that they can whenever they can and to bring out the best in each other. Until I see you again, stay well, my friends. Bye-bye.